After an embarrassing performance in the prologue, the Shanghai Dragons are returning to the Pokemon Premier League for another season. We finished bottom of the table. Viewers and fans all across the world looked at our performance and laughed. They questioned everything. She's only invited to the league because of Jack. She doesn't deserve to be here. She's just clout chasing. She has no talent. Well, you want to know what I say to all of those people? You're wrong. I know I can do better, and this season, I'm not holding anything back. We've been grinding on the off-season, proving ourselves as a player and defeating many coaches in our wake. We've made finals in the NBC. I live this! I maybe did live this! Let's go! Gonna be in finals! And you better believe we're making finals here too. So prepare yourselves for the best redemption arc in competitive Pokemon history, because the Shanghai Dragons are back and they're better than ever. Better team, better content, and better coach. We're sticking with the same rules as the first season, with a few tweaks here and there with pricing. If you'd like to see the rules in more detail, the fan doc is linked in the description below. The Teal Mask has gifted us with many new things to try, notably Ogerpon and the fun new Paradox Pokemon. Having 4th pick overall, we had some great options to go with. But who needs fun when you can pick Dragapult?
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
That's right baby, we're being boring this season and picking up potentially the single best Pokemon in Draft League format ever. With its 142 base speed stat, spammable coverage, and being the best offensive pivot in the entire game, Dragapult is the first member of our team. This thing is the definition of versatility and can really do it all. We have setup options, a status spreader, and a priority user all in one Pokemon. I'm really looking forward to using this thing. Our next pick saw Hariyama's performance last season and said, "Hold my booster energy." Iron Hands is an absolute monster that'll be able to break through any bulky dark types that stand in Dragapult's way, as well as bait in my opponent's fairy types and wear them down for Pult to take down later. Not only does it boast an impressive 140 base attack stat, but it also has access to great coverage options like Earthquake, Heavy Slam, and the Elemental Punches. Iron Hands will provide the Shanghai Dragons an incredible physical threat. With our 2 top picks being weak to Fairy, I decided to pick up Heatran. This gives the team our first hazard setter, as well as a taunt user to prevent any defensive setup. Heatran is one of the best checks to fairy types in the entire game. Let's not forget about his offensive capabilities. With moves like Fire Blast, Earth Power, and Steel Beam, Heatran can become an absolute nuke when it wants to. If that wasn't enough wall breaking potential, we then grab Landorus Therian, because for some reason it was still available. We did it a great injustice last season, but it's given us a second chance. This time, we're not going to waste it. The defensive synergy between Landorus Therian and Heatran has worked for generations, and on our team, Lando will be able to provide us with a fantastic pivot to bring in all of our threats. It also gives us another stealth rocker and can become a dangerous setup sweeper for an early game breaker. Next up to join the squad is our first Terra Captain Araquanid. I saw this criminally underpriced on the board, so I wanted to snag it early. For just 6 points, we pick up Sticky Web and one of the most threatening water types to ever exist. With the power to terrestrialize, this low tier pick becomes an absolute nightmare to switch into. Do you stay in and try and prevent Sticky Webs? Or do you just die to a choice banded, Terra Water boosted liquidation? Outside of Dragapult, our team is looking a little bit on the slow side, which is why my next pick was Serperior. Whilst it may lack coverage, it fits the speed tier that I needed, along with an incredible use of utility in Glare, Leech Seed, and Knockoff. Not only this, but it provides me with fast dual screens, as well as preventing setup with Taunt. Lastly, I can still spam Leaf Storm, because let's be honest, who's going to want to bring any steel types against this team? Alright. I'm looking at the board now and I'm starting to panic as I realise we haven't yet picked up a fairy type. This is where Alolan Ninetales joins the team. Ninetales will be our second Terra Captain, able to terrestrialize into the ice, ground or water type. And whilst it's not the typical fairy type, it will still be able to support the team tremendously by setting up Aurora Veil and shutting down most kinds of setup with Encore. Lastly, it gets Nasty Plot and paired with Terra can become a dangerous special breaker for me. For my next pick, I opted for another hazard setter. Since we were also lacking a grounded poison type, Hisuian Quillfish was a no-brainer. Quillfish will be able to support our team by setting up spikes or toxic spikes, and prevent setup with access to Haze and Taunt. DLC 2 also gave it Pain Split back, which gives it a little more longevity while still benefiting from Eviolite. Most importantly though, it will be able to suck up any toxic spikes our opponents set up. After looking at the team, I see that we don't have many reliable priority options. And while Sucker Punch is nice, it's not always the most optimal. For this reason, Lycan Rock Dusk was my next pick. Tough Claws boosted Accel Rock is one of the most threatening forms of priority in the game, making Lycan Rock an excellent revenge killer. Behind Veil, this thing is going to get out of control really fast with a Sword Stance. And finally, we make it to our last pick. I have 2 points left on the board and scour the options to see what will provide us with the most value. I settle with Trapinch as the final member of our team. For 2 points, we have 2 forms of priority and the ability to trap and kill any steel or electric types that my team doesn't want to deal with. I also have the added bonus of forcing my opponents to hold Shed Shell. And that's it, there's the team. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you for week 1 of the PPL.